right, good afternoon, everybody. This is Jean Spies and Bridgette Mileson. This is our inside perspective from track cycling. Today we have an awesome guest, Gabe Lloyd. Gabe is from T-Town.
Yeah, guys, thank you for having me. And as we say in T-Town, attention all riders, everybody to the rail. Let's get going. So I really appreciate you guys having me on. It's been really cool to hear your podcast so far, talking about coming over to T-Town and all of your amazing experiences here and around the world. So I'm really excited to be here today.
Well, thank you very much, Gabe.
Yeah, it's been great to meet you and chat with you, and especially when we met you, I think it was 2017, I think we met the first time.
2018.
Was it 2018?
Yeah.
Yeah, in 18 is when I started really working at the velodrome. I was here, I moved to T-Town in the end of 2010, and then in 11, I really started being more active in the community here. So I basically moved here to race in T-Town and improve my own skill set on the track and in criteriums. And then I sort of just ended up promoting races through the Red Hook Crit. And then because of the Red Hook Crit, we started to get hired for other events. And then there was a shift in management at the velodrome, which opened up the opportunity for myself and my wife, Casey, to come in and help get the velodrome through the 2018 season with technical director Andy Lakatosh at the time, as well as a few keyboard. Yeah, 18 was really the first time that I probably would have interacted with you guys on the regular, even though I was around in 17.
Okay.
That's pretty cool. You mentioned crits, so I'm going to start off there. We're a bit off to the side. I've had a lot of endurance riders actually in South Africa ask me about road racing during their trip to T-Town if they had to go. What is the crit circuit like in the area?
Our area is really fortunate to have a lot of different races every single weekend. And what I mean by that is a lot of different, what we'll call levels of racing, right? So we have a lot of local races, which maybe are a great introduction for riders of any ability really, but especially if you haven't done an American criterium before, with a lot of tight corners at speed. Sometimes that can be a little challenging, even for, Steven Van Aert and like some of those guys who are really super strong, but like taking a corner at speed was definitely a skill set that they had to adjust to a little bit. And then we also have more regional events, which is a little bit more of a drive. But we've got some really big races. One of them I put on, it's called the Reading Rad Sport Festival. That's about 45 minutes from T-Town. And that race, you're going to have higher speeds and a lot more people spectating. And it's a lot more of a festival because the way that those events are structured, the athletes are entertainment as much as high sporting, but it makes it really good. I mean, we had some top riders from New Zealand last year, George and Henry, and some of those guys who I don't know, you didn't overlap with them last year.
We did, yeah. We did.
Oh, you did a little bit. Okay, yeah. So
they were there,
yeah, like those guys, even who are super talented, definitely found like those regional races pretty challenging. So I think that that's a really nice plethora of opportunity that we have here in the Lehigh Valley, that local stuff into that regional stuff. And of course, we can't really forget the Thursday night criteriums, which are right across the street from T-Town. I mean, that happens every single Thursday. It didn't happen last year, obviously, but normally Thursday night crits right across the street from the velodrome that Chip Resney runs, and he's been running them for like 20 years. That's a really cool thing because it's a points race. So there's a lot of sprints, and it's a great opportunity for track riders to just practice, which is actually something that I heard, Jean, you talk about in one of your podcasts earlier, is the similarity for you with Tuesday and Friday night racing on the track, all these opportunities in endurance racing to practice sprinting for in points races and whatnot. There's another one on Thursday nights on the road bike. So just so many different opportunities here.
So you're telling me I'm still not racing enough, even though I race 600 laps in a month?
That was your choice to do it all on the track, but which I commend you. That was still, I think you may still hold the record for most laps competed in a season. I think that
I actually want to be honest with you, I really want to come back after the games and literally spend your whole season and race every single race in those 3 months and see how many laps we can really do.
I think you should.
I think I need to jump in here and just explain to the guys watching. In 2018, it was 2018 that Gabe, you challenged Jean to see how many laps he could actually do racing. So Jean pretty much, and it was only racing laps that were counted.
Only racing laps are counted,
Can you remember the exact amount, Gabe? I think it was 700 and something. It was just short of 800 if I remember correctly.
Possibly. I didn't do my homework before the call.
It was 686 laps.
Okay, Jean remembered 686. So it was just under 700 laps. That was it was crazy. It was crazy. But you had a really great season that season, Jean.
Yeah,
I mean, go for it, Gabe.
I was just going to say that we've chatted with some other athletes this season where they've talked about the benefits of racing, all the different things that T-Town has to offer. And I've definitely thought about you, Jean, with your, you are definitely the rider that stuck out in my mind for having done that many laps, because you also did it for so many weeks, right? It's one of those things, to me, it was the difference where some riders will take on that challenge for like a block of their training, but you did it for this like whole season, for month basically, where you really thrashed yourself. And also that was through UCI, was that not?
Yeah it was a month. It was 4 weeks there.
Yeah, that's a lot.
We only had the opportunity to be there for the UCI month because we were racing in Europe after that, so I kind of made the most of the 4 weeks.
You did.
But I think, and I'm sure you'll agree, and I've said this at home before, not that many people agree with me, but crit racing is the best form of racing out. Yes, we're talking track racing specifically, but from a road rider perspective, learning to corner, like you say, Steve's battling with the speed of the corners, the angle that the guys can actually lean their bikes through the corners. It's the only place you're going to learn it is in crit racing. I know, like you said, there's the crit racing scene in the States is pretty big. I think it's bigger than what normal road racing is, and it just brings out the quality of riders a lot quicker than what normal road racing should. And I think it's the same thing for the track. You're gonna get guys that race more. It'll bring out a lot more quality of rider a lot faster.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that the amount of racing that you can get here in not just Pennsylvania, but the region, so Pennsylvania, New York, Maryland, Washington, D.C., Delaware, New Jersey and Pennsylvania, really. It's just over and over and over, so many great opportunities to improve your skill set. And you're right, there really is no comparison. I raced one season in Belgium doing kermesses, and that is a very hard discipline, but it's very different from racing crits. And I think that nuance is a value add to track riders, because you have to be quick on your feet. You have to react, which is a really important skill set as well, to just learn to trust yourself in so many different ways with that technical ability, and to just go for it.
So for the guys that are watching this, there is a difference between criterium racing and kermesse racing. I think, if I'm not mistaken, a kermesse is under 2 kilometers per lap, whereas a criterium is over 2 kilometers per lap. Just the little technicalities of it.
Well, I mean, from a technical standpoint, actually, a crit would be around 1 kilometer per lap. And the other nuance, I would say, from my experience, is that a kermesse has the turns in it aren't as important as the power and speed straightaways, whereas a criterium can be won and lost in the turns, and that's really important to distinguish the two. It's kind of amazing that you can lose a bike race in the places where you don't pedal. And that's an interesting nuance for me.
yeah, the rolling speed, aerodynamics, all that type of stuff comes into play, but you need to be able to corner at speed in order to win a race.
Yeah.
I would actually hesitate. I mean, I would think that would apply to track racing as well. I mean, I know, John, we've chatted quite a bit about the differences of tracks in terms of a 250 track, a 333. We've chatted off air. But at the moment, you're on a 200-meter track, and you're finding that the cornering is obviously very different. So I would hesitate to say that that's quite a similarity that can be drawn between the criterium and the track.
I think so too. From my perspective, being on a 200-meter track here, it's like, especially because of my height, getting around the corner feels like it just whips me out. Whereas I go into 250 or a 333, and that corner feels a mile long. I know, like, Teton is 333, and it's this wonderful smooth concrete track with a bump on the 100-meter line, which I literally like time every single time I go around, because I know this bump can give me like 5Ks an hour. But reality is it's in the corner, and you need to learn to use that bump and the corner to your advantage. So it's an all-round importance in every aspect of the sport. If you're not going to get around the corner, you're not going to race. That's it. It's a skill set that everybody needs.
Absolutely.
What would you say, Gabe, in terms of, I'm going to take it slightly commercial. So running maybe try and give a bit of help to the South Africans that are looking at events. Do you think running a criterium or a crit series would be sort of more beneficial to not just the riders, but to sponsors?
So the question is for event promoters in South Africa?
Yeah,
I would.
Riders in general, it doesn't necessarily just need to be South Africa, but yes.
Oh, okay. I think series definitely offer a lot of value, and the series can be defined in a few different ways, whether that's your regular Thursday night thing, which is super low key, but really regular attendance, but you don't have any spectators. So you're really interested in getting in front of those athletes week in, week out. And that can be a great opportunity for a local restaurant to jump in as a sponsor, because athletes are going to want to eat. And so, like, a few discount coupons as prizes, very low cash outlay, but
all riders, next lap is
yeah, free hot dogs. Yeah, I mean, ice cream, hot dogs, pizzas. Like, it does sound silly, but it really does get things going. I mean, we have a local hot dog chain here, Yako's. They've sponsored the Thursday night thing for years because it just puts people in their shop, and that's really what it's about. When you step up into slightly larger regional events and you can figure out how to get enough sponsorship together to do a few of them, then your sponsorships can also become part of talking to the spectators that are there. And so your demographic opens up a little bit more. So clothing brands are interesting, consumer goods, or consumer products, even like soft drinks and like larger brands. We've had Jose Cuervo step on as a sponsor for one of our events, just because people party and drink at some of these things, and they used it as a way of handing out coupons to go into some of the local bars that purchase their product. So regularity essentially is the key to really extending value of sponsorship for things. It's really hard though. I mean, we have two series here in America. One's called Intelligentsia Cup, and the other is called Tour of America's Dairylands, which is called TOAD for short. And those two race series, they're 10 days in a row of racing each. Wow. And that regularity is really cool. And their presentation, I think, is sort of a hybrid between the Thursday night stuff and maybe the Rad Sport stuff that we do, in that they have to like set up and tear down super quickly. But because they have all this continued exposure to the athletes and to that sort of ecosystem around the athletes week in, week out, they've been able to find really nice sponsorships that keep them going. And it's not small money. I mean, the guys who run those series, that's what they do. That's their job, is promoting that 10-day series. So there can be money to be had, and it can be profitable, and it can be mutually beneficial for promoters, for towns, for the athletes, of course, because you get all that racing in. So yeah, there's great benefit to regularity in race series.
Awesome, thank you. I think we're going to end it there for this part one, and then we will start again shortly. Thanks, Gabe. It's awesome to have you on with us.
Thank you for having me. It's been a real pleasure. I'll look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you very much.